Hey guys, directly from the GMB Crush SEO bunker, today we're talking about how Google is rewriting your titles using AI.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, it's a pretty wild time in the industry right now.
It really is. I mean, welcome everyone to this deep dive. Today we are unpacking a whole stack of sources based around the death of title tag control, AI search dynamics.
Right.
And our mission for this deep dive is to basically figure out how Google's AI has, well, completely gone rogue.
Yeah.
It's overriding the carefully crafted title tags that we as SEOs spend hours on.
It really feels like an override, yeah.
Totally. And, more importantly, we want to talk about what you, the advanced local SEOs listening to this, can actually do to regain control using some pretty tactical data. Because I have to say, looking at this research, I'm incredibly energized, but also a little unnerved.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a shock to the system, especially if your entire career has been built on that old paradigm of, absolute on-page control.
Right, like we write the rules.
Exactly. But I think it's really crucial for you guys listening that we don't look at this as some sort of algorithmic catastrophe.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is that the research papers and the audit logs, they're showing us an evolution. It's a massive shift in search dynamics, sure, but it just requires a sharper, more technical approach. It's not a reason to panic.
No, definitely not. But, let's unpack this, because the control issue is exactly why the SEO community is kind of losing their minds.
Oh yeah, the forums are on fire.
Right. Because for decades, the title tag was a strict directive. You wrote the HTML, you told Google, hey, this is my title. And Google just said, cool, here it is in the search results.
Yeah, it was a very simple transaction.
Exactly. But now these case studies are explicitly showing that title tags are basically demoted. They're mere suggestions now.
Just suggestions, yeah.
And Google's AI is dynamically adapting them on a per query basis. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
It feels like spending hours meticulously painting a beautiful storefront sign.
Yeah.
Right. And then Google's AI comes along and magically repaints it every single time a different customer walks by just because it thinks they want to see something else.
Yeah.
Are SEOs just losing control entirely here?
Well, what's fascinating here is the why behind it. You have to look at the underlying shift in how Google evaluates what a page is actually about.
Okay.
We're basically seeing the final nail in the coffin for traditional keyword matching. It's being replaced almost entirely by entity-based interpretation.
Entity-based.
Yeah. So when we talk about Google's AI models, things like BERT, MUM, all those iterations, we aren't just talking about basic algorithm updates anymore.
No, it's way deeper than that.
Exactly. These are neural networks that actually understand language context. They aren't just reading words on a page. They are reading concepts. So Google legitimately believes its AI understands the user's intent way better than the webmaster does.
Wow. Okay, so it's like Google isn't just looking at the name of your dish on the menu. It's physically walking into your kitchen and tasting the ingredients.
That is a great way to put it, yeah.
Like if my title tag says classic Italian spaghetti, but Google scans my page and finds, I don't know, cumin, chili powder, and kidney beans.
It's going to rewrite it.
Yeah, it just crosses out my beautiful title and dynamically rewrites it as chili on the SRP.
Precisely. It is matching the user's underlying intent against the actual entity map of your page content.
Okay.
Because an entity is just a well-defined concept, right? A person, a place, a specific local service, and how they all relate to each other.
Right.
So if the AI decides that your crafted title tag doesn't perfectly reflect the entities it found in your main content for that specific user's query, it just synthesizes a new one.
It just makes it up.
Pretty much. It might pull an H1 or grab some text from a random body paragraph.
That's true.
It just mathematically determines what will satisfy that user's intent faster.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
So what does this all mean for the metrics? If you're listening to this and thinking, well, wait, if Google is using its multi-billion-dollar AI to make my title hyper-relevant to the exact query a user typed, shouldn't that theoretically increase my click-through rate?
You would think so, right?
Yeah. Like, why is losing control inherently a bad thing if the all-knowing AI thinks it's a better match for the searcher?
And that right there is the exact trap a lot of local SEOs are falling into right now. You really have to separate query relevance from human persuasion.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the AI is optimizing for immediate query relevance. It's matching those entities flawlessly. But the AI is actually notoriously terrible at conversion rate optimization.
Right, because it's a machine. It's not a salesman.
Exactly. It's trying to be factual. When you write a title tag, you're layering in psychological triggers, right? You're using free estimate or voted #1 in Chicago.
Or just a really punchy brand tone.
Exactly. Things that make you stand out from the other 9 blue links. But when Google rewrites it to hypermatch the query, it almost always strips those persuasive elements right out.
Oh, wow. So it just distills your marketing into this dry, Wikipedia-style statement of fact.
Yep. It totally homogenizes the search results.
You just blend in with everyone else.
You become a generic entity instead of a compelling brand. Think about the human behavior on the SRP. You might rank in position 2, but if your title looks exactly like the dynamically generated boring titles in positions 1 and 3...
Your CTR is going to just plummet.
Exactly. There's no urgency, no unique selling proposition. And, think about the hidden damage to brand positioning there.
Oh, for sure.
If a company spends millions establishing a signature service name and Google just overwrites it with generic industry terms, your brand equity just erodes.
The AI does not care about your branding. It just wants to answer the query.
Right. It only cares about the immediate text string in the search bar.
Which speaks directly to a massive pain point.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this right now and wondering why your flagship service page lost, like, 15% of its organic traffic last month, even though your ranking position didn't drop at all, this is why.
Yeah, it's a silent traffic killer.
The algorithm didn't demote you. It just made you invisible by making you sound incredibly boring.
Exactly. It stripped your hook.
Okay, so instead of fighting the AI head-on, because we obviously can't force it to stop rewriting things, we basically have to do a forensic investigation.
We do.
We're checking the audit logs, like security footage, to see what the AI did to our rankings overnight. But how exactly do we measure that gap? How do we see what the AI is prioritizing in the wild?
Well, this is where you have to get incredibly analytical, and you have to rely on grid-based tracking. This is why using GMB crush audits becomes absolutely critical.
Right.
You use their audit logs to detect the mismatch between your target keywords, what you actually wanted to rank for, and your actual ranking queries.
Which is what the AI decided to rank you for.
Exactly. You're comparing your original title intent versus what is actually triggering visibility across different grid positions. You can't just look at a binary do I rank or not metric anymore.
But hold on, just execution-wise, if you're pulling a GMB crush grid across a massive city like Chicago or New York, you've got hundreds of nodes on that grid.
Oh, yeah. Thousands sometimes.
Right. Finding that specific delta where the title changed, that feels like looking for a needle in a haystack. How are we filtering that data to actually find out where the AI went rogue?
Well, you aren't looking at every single node manually, obviously. You are looking for anomalies in the visibility grid.
Okay, what kind of anomalies?
So in a GMB crush audit, you compare your curated title against what's triggering visibility. Often, your original title intent holds really strong in a tight, maybe 1-mile radius around your physical location.
Right, where you have the strongest local authority.
Exactly. But as you expand outward in the grid, say 3 to 5 miles out there, the AI starts compensating for geographical distance. It relies heavily on secondary intent or slight variations in the query.
Ah, okay.
So you filtered the data by looking for nodes where your ranking is surprisingly high for a secondary keyword, but your CTR from that area is disproportionately low.
And that's the footprint.
That is your footprint. It tells you the AI is ranking you, but it synthesized a terrible generic title to do it.
Okay, let's make this super concrete for the listeners.
Right.
Let's say I wrote a highly optimized page for commercial roof repair, but my GMB crush audit shows I'm pulling massive visibility in the northwest part of the city for office building leak fix.
Yep, classic mismatch.
Right. And I didn't write a title for that. I didn't optimize for that specific phrase. I need to know how Google is bridging that gap.
And identifying the gaps between what's written on your service pages and the specific queries the AI is prioritizing, that is the entire core of modern entity-based SEO.
Okay.
When you find that mismatch in the data, you have objective mathematical proof of how the AI views your brand in that specific micro-market.
So you aren't guessing anymore?
No, not at all. You have data showing that Google's intent engine bypassed your carefully crafted title tag. It felt your tag didn't adequately answer office building leak fix, even though your body content proved you could do the job.
So it stepped in to fix what it perceived as my mistake.
Exactly. From the algorithm's perspective, it's just error correction.
Man, calling it a mistake is a tough pill to swallow when you spent hours writing that HTML tag.
I know.
It's like the AI saying, oh, this poor SEO doesn't know how to market to this user. Let me just rewrite this for them.
Yeah, pretty much.
But here's where it gets really interesting. If we have this audit data, we can use it to adapt, right? We can reverse engineer Google's intent engine.
Yes, that is the pivotal transition. You have to stop fighting the symptoms and start auditing the machine.
Right.
You cannot beat the AI by stubbornly forcing an exact match keyword into a title tag and praying it respects it. You survive by mastering keyword clustering and deep query analysis.
So practically speaking, we stop obsessing over traditional search volume tools for a minute. And we actually look at the live ACE error. We leverage competitor comparison to reverse engineer things.
Exactly.
Like, if we compare ourselves to competitors and figure out which title formats Google consistently rewrites versus the ones it keeps intact, we essentially find the cheat code, right? We just give the AI exactly the entity-based format it wants in the first place.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. You start your query analysis by looking at the SERPs, but you pull the actual HTML source code of the top-ranking competitors.
Their original title tags.
Right, and you compare them side by side to the rendered error petals that Google is dynamically displaying on the live page.
Okay.
When you find a competitor whose title was not rewritten, where Google kept their CRO elements completely intact, you study that page like it is a sacred text.
Because that page is perfectly aligned with the AI's internal entity map. But wait, what are we actually looking for on that page? If we just mirror the guy who didn't get rewritten, are we just copying their content?
No. You aren't copying their brand or specific wording. You are modeling their semantic structure. You ask yourself, why did the AI respect this title with a 99% confidence score?
I see.
And what you'll almost always find is that the unrewritten title is supported by an incredibly strong, perfectly clustered entity map in the page content.
So their H1s, their H2s.
The semantic depth of their H2s, their schema markup, the supporting entities in the body copy. It all aligns so perfectly with the core intent of their title tag that the AI has no choice.
Just looks at it and says, yep, no error correction necessary.
Exactly.
And on the flip side, we can also reverse engineer the ones Google did rewrite. Like, what formats is it consistently throwing in the trash?
Yes, and it's usually titles that are overly stuffed with traditional keywords but lack supporting semantic depth. Or they're just too vague.
Right, like if your title is Plumber, Chicago Plumber, Best Plumber.
Oh yeah, the AI hates that. Especially if your page content doesn't actually delve into specific entities of plumbing, like pipe materials, local building codes, geographical zones.
The AI just flags a massive disconnect. The title is aggressive, but the content is thin.
Exactly, so it synthesizes something basic based on whatever thin text it can find.
So if you want to keep your persuasive elements, your free estimate, or your brand name, you basically have to earn the right to keep them.
That is the perfect way to phrase it.
You earn that right by making sure your page is an absolute fortress of entity relevance. You're telling the AI, look, my semantic structure is bulletproof. You don't need to play editor here.
Right. It requires a much higher bar for content quality than we've ever seen. You aren't optimizing for a dumb crawler anymore. You're optimizing for a highly sophisticated natural language processing model.
Yeah.
So if you run your GMB Crush audit and find a massive gap, you don't just log into your CMS and tweak the title tag again. That's a Band-Aid.
You have to rewrite the page content to strengthen those entity relationships. Add the missing concepts. Tighten the schema.
Exactly. Make your desired title tag the most mathematically accurate description possible.
Man, this is just, it's a massive paradigm shift. It completely changes the daily workflow. We're essentially performing deep psychological profiling on an artificial intelligence.
We really are.
Okay, let's briefly recap this journey because we covered a lot of ground. What started as this annoyance, Google rewriting our titles, is actually a fundamental shift in search dynamics.
Yep. Title tags are just suggestions now.
Exactly. Entity-based interpretation has completely replaced keyword matching. And the only way to survive is by running those GMB Crush audits, doing deep query analysis, and reverse engineering the competitor titles that the AI actually respects.
An incredibly demanding environment for sure, but it rewards precision.
Absolutely.
Though, looking at the trajectory of these research papers, it raises a pretty existential question for you, the listener, to mull over as this tech accelerates. We've spent this whole deep dive talking about how to manage the AI rewriting your titles. But if Google's AI is already so confident in its ability to extract entities, understand intent, and synthesize your marketing message on the fly, How long until it stops showing your titles and your URLs entirely?
Oh, wow.
How long until it just synthesizes your page content directly into the search results, making the click a thing of the past?
Man, zero-click search, take it to the absolute extreme, doesn't even need to send the user to your website at all.
Exactly.
That is terrifying, but honestly completely logical based on what we're seeing. We will definitely have to tackle surviving zero-click synthesis in a future deep dive. But for today, that is a wrap on our analysis.
Yeah, great stuff.
Thank you guys for joining us as we unpack this massive algorithmic shift. Stay curious, keep checking your own search visibility grids, and remember, keep a close eye on your storefront sign because the AI is always walking by with a fresh bucket of paint. See you next time.